Hmm. Pop out chat. Hey, how you doing? Minimize? Probably minimize that. How you doing today, Kitrell? Pretty good. I haven't streamed in a long time, so feeling quite rusty. Hey, Hive Mind, how you doing? What's happening? I honestly didn't do an audio test. I should have recorded everything. You were really curious about this topic. Okay, that's good. Well, I'm hoping we can break it down pretty good. I think it makes sense. Quite interesting on how many agencies have actually come out in the past few years. It takes some. And make sure you guys like ask whatever questions you want to know. The harder the questions, the better. Especially if you guys got some like gotcha questions, like Senpai, anything like that would make me think a little bit harder than I should. But what's new in everybody's world? What's been happening? Noctilin, how you doing? Well, the goal is to be streaming probably every second Friday with like important topics, and then every Wednesday is my goal here on out for streaming on Twitch, and then back to regular videos every week as well. I'm actually gonna cut your sentence that you just wrote there, Kitrell. Happened with Hollowstar's first stage JP. Lots of people are going to be looking for stability in small corps. My hot take on this one that a lot of people will not like. I've been 3D modeling with AutoCAD too and practicing digital art. Oh, nice. That's cool. Getting as much practice in as possible. Absolutely. You need to do it. Practice will, like, the old adage, right? Practice makes perfect. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. I'm gonna get my first commission for a live 2D model. Nice. Okay, that's good. That's really. Do you know what kind of theme you're gonna go for, or are you just gonna go for like a regular person, like myself, or are you gonna go with? You know what's going to be interesting that no one has ever talked about yet is how VTubing is going to change a lot very, very, very soon, sooner than we think. VTubing is gonna, I'm predicting VTubing is gonna change in the next year, like no one's ever gonna expect or even realize is possible. It's gonna, I'm predicting live 2Ds, 3Ds, V2 or PNG tubing, like gonna get blown out of the water with the new that could potentially become pretty soon. New 3D tracking technology. The 3D tracking the 3D tracking technology isn't going to be very much hardware based anymore. It's going to be more soft, I feel. Yeah, it's just gonna be one of those things. It's gonna, if my theory's right, how it's gonna happen, and it's mostly gonna happen because of AI. Oh, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Is because of AI. People are reverse engineering live 2D files. That could be a vector. Oh yeah. But no, it's with the whole AI thing and the whole AI face swap thing that is actually like super popular on YouTube and TikTok and so on and so forth. Oh my god. It'll take just a little bit of effort and ingenuity from someone, take that to a completely different level that we've never seen before. And once it's at that level, regular models are just gonna go out the window. I feel. Okay, Cred, that's good. I'd rather be independent over an agency. I see myself a creator over a VTuber. That's actually one of the points I'm gonna make. When we talk in about 5 minutes. AI is growing so unpopular that I can't see it lasting. So yes and no. Mostly no, ND, and the reason is, like, for example, there is a great many, vast majority of VTubers now using AI for their thumbnails. May not be the entire thumbnail, but a lot of thumbnails have AI art in it now. Or if you look at like different things like, well, just look at your popular gamers, right? Especially on YouTube, they're manipulating people's bodies to hold things that weren't there before and so on and so forth. I think a lot of the art of Photoshop and so on and so forth is going out the window because of that. I've been noticing a lot of documentary channels incorporating AI, and I've seen a huge wave of new AI channels just coming out where they're either doing voiceovers or they're doing the art and it's in the video. And it's funny because the comment section doesn't talk about the AI, it talks about the video and the content in the video. So AI is the hype dying down for sure, but it's going to be used more on a professional level than an average user level. Especially mostly more of a professional level, because it's going to be behind a paywall, right? If you look at Grok right now, that's on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, if you want to use Grok properly, you got to pay for it. Well, if you want to use like the more advanced features of Grok, you got to pay for it. Where ChatGPT, they kind of roll back some of their features unless you pay for it, so on and so forth. So there's a lot of companies that are like, okay, we got people hooked into the product, but now we're going to make them pay for the product. especially like AI chat programs. So I have one friend. He's very, I want to say, antisocial, and she heavily uses AI friend apps, right? And it's making a lot of connections with people that can't make proper friends. Unfortunately, a lot of those people are kind of like VTubers and streamers and viewers of those VTubers and streamers and so on and so forth, that are really using these AI programs to have artificial relationships with people that, yeah, well, it's artificial. They don't exist. I think truthfully, it may look like AI is going away. I think it's more people are just getting used to it. And unfortunately, it's just one of those things that we'll never get away from. It's here now, it's here to stay, unfortunately. But the form of the AI will definitely adapt over. When the venture capital runs out and the price explodes, well, it all depends, right? How much easier does it make the job, right? I know telecommunication companies are switching over to AI agents, right? Which is killing jobs. There's a lot of companies that are just going over to AI employees and you know, spending money on the servers and so on and so forth. AI has practical uses for content creators too. Even many just want to use to make slop. Yeah. And that's the crazy thing. The slop is getting views. No matter what, original content, I feel, is always going to be the best content. But you got those people that have the no brain rolling through the middle of the night on TikTok or Instagram Reels or so on and so forth that'll watch a random AI video. I do it. I know everybody does it when they're laying in bed and there's nothing else to watch and you're just scrolling just to fall asleep. You know, there's that random AI video that will pop up that you will probably watch that you may or may not know is AI. It's just, it's a sad thing, but I really feel like one day somebody's going to figure out, it's going to be exactly like an Instagram, or not Instagram, it's going to be exactly like a Snapchat filter, where people are going to be able to incorporate their models, like you get a live 2D model drawn out. There'll be some sort of filter where you can grab your live 2D or 3D model and it'll perfectly mesh blend it to your face. So, and we're not far from that. We're really close to that. There's some Snapchat filters that are basically that now, and all they got to do is just give you the ability to import a model. So we're really close to that happening. Really close. It's just, like I said, somebody just figuring it out, incorporating into their software or building a brand new piece of software for it. And then once that happens, the game for VTubing will change drastically. Very drastic. Which will be an interesting sight to see. I don't know, what are your guys' thoughts? I know Andy's saying they might not stay. I want a different opinion. We're never going to see it more of it. But let's jump into today's topic. Might as well, right? We waited long enough. Let's go back to the backboard. I'm gonna pause the music. So I noticed in my Discord, especially, VTuber agencies has been a hot topic as of late. Or your statement up. Has been a very hot topic as of late. And it's funny because I was scrolling around Twitter and Instagram and so on and so forth, and I've been noticing it too, where people are talking about agencies more and more. Especially small agencies that have been on the rise. And one thing we need to do as a VTubing community, whether you're a streamer or a viewer. Really, we need to look at all aspects of these agencies. Um, the problem with a lot of VTuber viewers and VTubers alike at times is we are really quick to hop on the bandwagon for a new agency. Um, I've seen people say things like, "Oh my god, this agency is going to outlast HoloLive. Oh my god, this agency is going to do better than HoloStars. Oh my god, this agency is going to do better than XYZ agency." Especially a very large agency that either used to exist or does exist. Uh, the one thing we need to really differentiate, especially if you're a newer VTuber and you want to join an agency, is it a group? You think my spelling would have got better over time? Or agency? I noticed that some people are saying that they want to um, start an agency with their friends. And mostly only have their friends. That is not really an agency. That's more of a group. Now, the nice thing about a group is you guys can pull in resources. I spelled that wrong. I know. But you can pull in resources and you can learn off each other. So mistakes. So for example, people can practice or play with going live at times, right? Which times are actually beneficial to go live? Another positive thing about a group, and again, this is what a lot of people are getting confused with agencies, is they will always collab together. You'll see that in agencies, there is collabing that does happen, but it's not all the time. A lot of the times, there's people that are working alone. They're not really doing collaborations unless it's mandated by management. Which brings me to my next point. The management is whoever is in the group, right? Um, Anytime there's a group of people, there will always be one person that becomes the natural leader of that said group. The human species is kind of like that, right? We're a communal species. We like to talk to people. We like to have groups. And again, every time there's a group made, there's always going to be a leader in that group that forms naturally. So when we have a group, usually there will be that one friend who leads it, which isn't a bad thing. It's a good thing because you always need to have a leader of a group, but you can't have the expectation where everybody's going to have um, equal voice, right? Equal voice doesn't really exist in these VTuber groups. At first, they always do, but eventually, again, a leader comes out of nowhere and takes charge, which again is a good thing. But one thing I do notice with groups, which happens more than anything, is people get jealous of their friends. And this is true in agencies as well. This does happen in agencies, but this does happen more so in friend group. And if you are going to decide to join a VTuber friend group, you got to be prepared to understand that your friends might do better than you. Your friends might be able to, you know, captivate an audience, pull in your audience, even, right? There are people that will straight up just be able to handle an audience better than you. And you got to be okay with that. Um, the There isn't a whole lot of benefits, as to be honest, with a VTuber group. Um, but this is what the main thing that a VTuber group contains. A lot of people think that if I join a VTuber group, we get sponsors. Sadly, most VTuber groups, the CCVs, which is concurrent viewers, is going to be less than 25. And to be honest, the most that I've been seeing on X and Twitch and so on and so forth, truthfully, the real number is less than 5. I think what a lot of people are doing are trying to join groups. They're trying to do the whole thing that we all do, or we all did, or are doing, or whatever you want to say. Trying to make friends and then trying to like some of the viewership from those friends so they can get over that 5 threshold, right? Which really a thing. Can be depending if you're captivating enough, but majority of the time, a lot of people aren't. It's just not a skill they've learned yet. So again, I've seen people say, "Oh, we're forming an agency." Not an agency; it's just a group of friends. Sometimes that group will allow new people to join. Um, and when you do join a group, you need to understand that there is no real profit. There's no real bargaining chip. There's nothing really like that exists in a VTuber group. There isn't a whole lot of professional background in that VTuber group, and basically it really. Let's talk about agencies real. Now we can break this down in 2 different ways. We got the big agency. All right, we'll do it up here. Big agencies. In the big agency, you have a management team who typically have years of experience. And usually that experience is related in the streaming / content field, and content, whether that be television, so on and so forth. The issue is your friends hit a big milestone before you, which leads to jealousy. Yes, absolutely true. I feel to remedy envy, jealousy, if you want to be like that other person more around them, learn from them, and perhaps, well, the problem is Nocturne. Smaller creators, smaller streamers, smaller VTubers, smaller streamers are very set in their ways. Let's be very, very honest. A lot of us are. But they're not willing to really accept criticism. You can go on X right now, make a post about how VTubers hate on each other. And you know what? I'll probably actually make that post myself, prove a point. And you'll see people, oh my God, I don't hate on my friends. But if you look at, what they post on their own account, it's like giving bad advice. Oh, you should go live for 24 hours as soon as you get Twitch affiliate. Oh my God, you should stream 7 days a week, 4 hours a day, 8 hours a day, if you really want to make it, right? We've heard that bad advice over and over and over and over and over again, and people are still doing it, right? Small content creators are very slow to learn, very slow to adapt. I've seen it in my own Discord. So yeah, back to big agencies. So big agencies have a management team who have years of experience related to the streaming / content realm. Not only that, agencies have HR, like a human resources, right? They have a CEO. They have a COO. They usually have media teams, so on and so forth, right? So there's a whole bunch of different levels of important things that don't exist in a group. Believe it or not, and this is what a lot of VTubers tend to miss. I'm trying to make a dash, but it's not working. Um, is you need to advertise your stream. I've seen a lot of new channels show up on Twitch, or ones that were, I should probably say, recently exploded on Twitch because they're utilizing YouTube Shorts, because they're posting on multiple platforms. These are things I've stated for over 5 years on this channel, uh, which, again, a lot of small VTubers, a lot of small streamers refuse to do, don't want to do, are afraid to do. So when you are really stuck in your ways and you're not willing to adapt or change, you're not going to really grow, especially in groups, small groups, when everybody is where everybody's not really willing to learn and change and adapt. Um, and in a big agency, they have media teams that will reach out, that will run advertisements. We've seen those advertisements on YouTube where new agencies start, new large agencies start. Current large agencies are, making these commercials, advertisement, click advertisements on YouTube. I've seen VTuber agency advertisements for wasn't Vishojo, it wasn't Hololive. I believe it was. I think it was Niji Sanji. I might be wrong. On Facebook, right? So you got all these different layers and well-rounded staff. It might be idle. Yeah, it might be idle. That can actually give you support and help you out and guide you and do a lot of things that you really don't have a whole lot of time to do, right? Um, so yeah, big agencies also have courses, right? We know for a fact where, when a whole bunch of people join Niji Sanji, they had to go through a tiny little course. Okay, what to do when this happens, what to do when that happens, how to properly set up your equipment, how to properly do this, how to handle this, when to reach out to your manager, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a foundation of education that happens when you join a big agency. And again, you don't have this in that group because you're all kind of learning together. Uh, Going on with what also happens in big agencies, um, sometimes we know that they give equipment, right? And when you're a first starting out VTuber, especially joining a group, um, you don't have access to a whole lot of equipment. You don't have access to like models, right? We'll do slash models on this one because they kind of go hand in hand. But when you're brand new to it, you guys don't have access to that. Or big agencies do. Small groups don't. Um, so I guess what I'm trying to get to is there's a lot of hacking and there's a lot of things that go into big agencies that help make creators successful, which again doesn't exist in the group. If one of the streamers is starting to decline, well, okay, they can pump it into ads with the media team, get more viewers in, or they can go to HR and offer some tips, or they can go to the management team and like, okay, hey management, what can we do to get this VTuber back on track? Again, smaller groups, especially when you guys have less than 5 concurrent viewers, that doesn't exist, nor will it. Again, you're all learning. Y'all are just starting out with zero money and 0 cents, which is not a bad thing. It's one of the things that just happens. The big thing that a lot of people don't realize is even though these big agencies have all this stuff, we've seen a lot in 2024 and 2025. One huge thing that always happens with these agencies, they fail. These agencies are failing. They're falling apart, right? Why do big agencies fail? Well, truthfully, we kind of know why. We've seen why. Management, doesn't listen to the talent, right? Um, a lot of times the talent knows better than some managers. Um, one thing that we saw a lot with Nichi Sanji is it's a cultural difference. Not just Nichi Sanji, but like everywhere, it's a cultural difference. Um, when you got an agency that's based in a country like Japan, what they expect from you might be illegal in different countries like Canada, United States. Worth ethics are completely different. Demands are different. So when there's a cultural difference, it's a huge thing, and that's why these are the main two reasons why they fail. Um, Another thing that I've noticed with one agency in particular, they're more of a VTubing app um, than an actual agency. Um, they are very set in their ways, and this kind of goes with this one: cultural differences and management doesn't listen to their talent. I noticed that a lot of times the management is just so set in their ways they don't want to change or compromise. I had a video call with one agency that's a mobile app agency. Um, I offered them great sound advice. They opened in one market, which was the United States. They didn't want to open in any other market. When you're an agency and you want to get new people, new viewers hooked onto your app, and you're only limiting them to an iOS app, you're not including Android, you're not including other countries right from launch, and they're wondering why they're kind of failing. Yeah, kind of why, right? Um, Again, we've seen when talent have left big corps, that's one of their complaints. Management set in their ways; they don't want to change anything. Um, so with all this stuff, people are like, okay, well, big agencies have too much going on. Well, of course, that's why they're going to fail, right? Okay, well, let's talk about small agencies. Oops. Now, this is the scary thing about small agencies. When small agencies are starting out, they usually have, right off the bat, a CEO. Um, Again, this is from what I've seen. Will vary from small agency to small agency. Not everything I'm listing in the small agencies field is going to be true for every small agency. Um, but most of the time, they start with a CEO. Naturally, small agencies won't have much of a financial backing, which means uh, talent won't get their own custom models or equipment. What they do have right off the bat, CEO, a leader, right? Fresh leader. Because I have seen people, even in my own community, try to start their own agency, and that's basically what they are, is leader. Um, but yeah, they don't have much of a financial backing. Um, so they can't give a custom model or equipment. Not only that, I've noticed that, and this is the problem with small agencies, is they overpromise. So that's one big downfall of a lot of small agencies. I've seen time and time and time and time and time again where an agency will overpromise on what they will give. Is usually rev split um, or concurrent viewers, um, or even models, um, et cetera, et cetera. And when they can't meet these expectations or these promises that they've set out to these talents, they get blasted on X, and rightfully so. Um, so realistically, it doesn't really do anything. Doesn't help anybody. Andrea mentioned connections. So the connections, they exist more in the bigger agency, because smaller agencies, what are their connections? Smaller agencies, I've seen a lot of times, you know, what they're doing for what we want to do is what we want to say is sponsors is just affiliate programs. Um, they don't really have connections because they're a brand new company. It takes time to build connections, and you got to think about it this way. Again, this is my own data that I've collected. This is only from my point of view. I've seen at least one new agency a week, at least. And if you have one new agency a week reaching out to, the creators of VTube Studio or VC Face or NVIDIA, AMD, so on and so forth, over time, these companies aren't going to really reply. They're not going to really say anything to these small agencies. And you got to really ask yourself, why would they? What does an agency have to offer them? Um, and we'll talk about what we can do to make a good small agency. Um, but before we do that, we got to talk about what they normally bring in. And I encourage everybody to do their own research on this particular topic. But one thing I've noticed, again, my own data, especially for over the past 5 years and still currently, is small agencies always recruit small VTubers. And when you recruit a small VTuber, usually, again, they're underneath 5 concurrent viewers, or sometimes I've seen them 25 CCVs, concurrent viewers, which 25 is a really good number. 25 is a fantastic number. But in the realm of negotiating power, you only have 5 VTubers with 25 concurrent viewers. It's not a whole lot. You still don't have a lot of the oomph behind it, because, like, especially if you want sponsors, again, AMD or gaming chairs or mousepad companies or Street or Elgato or whatever, right? When you go to these sponsors, you got to have numbers that can back it. Okay, hey Elgato, I have 5 streamers, both with 100 concurrent viewers. Over the stream time, 1,000 different people come into those streams, right? And that's data that the sponsors can pull, and you yourself can pull as an agency or a streamer or a VTuber or whatever, right? That you can present to these companies and say, hey, sponsors, we have this. This is why you should support us. This is why you should sponsor us. Um, so yeah, when agencies are trying to recruit small VTubers, I don't see those agencies sticking around for much longer past that. Again, because there's no way for them to support the small VTubers, right? Small VTubers are expecting these big promises of better rev split, of more viewers, of better models, right? That's why I still run a $50 model, to show people that, hey, you can grow a successful stream. Well, to be fair, for the last 2 years, I haven't really streamed, so my numbers have dwindled quite significantly. But I'm still getting at least 50 subs a month on YouTube of my content, which not a lot of people say they can even remotely do. So it's just a drain that's circling, right? Which isn't a good thing for small agencies. What a small agency should do, and that's just what we'll break into. what a small agency should do, right off the bat, trying to get 2 big streamers. And by big, I'm going to say at least 50 CCV, 50 concurrent viewer streamer, right? If possible, 1 partner streamer. Then you can go after, the 50 concurrent viewers. And then you can dwindle down to the 25 concurrent viewers. Then you could dwindle down to the 10 concurrent viewers, right? Then you can really spread it out. And the reason why is because you got that 1 partner. And the 1 partner is usually bare minimum 75 concurrent viewers to be a partner on Twitch. Right? I would say change that to 75. That right there, that 1 partner gives you bargaining power. That's when Elgato, Stream Deck, whoever you reach out to, like, oh, okay, so this person's a partner streamer, and we can pull up their analytics. We can see that they're holding at least at a 75 concurrent viewers or 100 concurrent viewers. Okay, yeah, we'll be more serious to take a look at this. Maybe a gamer subs, right? There's so many things, right? And Noctilin actually brought up a really good point here. It costs more to hire a small VTuber than it is to hire more experience. Not just cost of hiring. One thing you're going to have to think about too when you're a small agency, when you bring in a smaller VTuber, the time it takes to explain and teach them. Where if you start with if you want to start an agency correctly, you get that 1 partner, teach those people on what to do and how to do it and how to be successful. Right? And this partner here, the way to make it beneficial and worth it for them is they get a bigger cut than the 50s, the 20s, and the 10s. Where if a 50 concurrent viewer, let's say it's a 75, or let's say it's between the agency and the VTuber for sponsorship, right? Let's play that hypothetical game. Well, out of that 50% split for the agency, maybe the agency will take 10%, and that 40% will go to the partner. The partner's making the 50 plus the 40, which is 80. Or wait, no, 90, right? Sorry. It's been a long day. I'm not mathing very well. But that gives motivation, that gives reason for that partner to teach the people at these lower levels to get them to the partner status. Right? That's what you want to do when you first start out. Get the partner first. Make it worth it for them, so they'll teach the others. That's the first thing you do. The second thing you do is watch as much content about agencies as possible. And honestly, you really should reach out to some. Most of them will blow you off because you're competition, but you got other agencies out there that literally post their tutorials online for free. Look at Devin Nash, right? He gave tons of amazing tips and tricks on his YouTube channel for years and years and years. And gave really great insights to people for years and years and years on what to do, what not to do as an agency. And this is where a lot of small agencies are absolutely failing because they are so bushy-eyed that they want to just jump into it with both feet first, but not really willing to do the research. Again, how do I know this? I know this because there is people from our whatchamacallit, community. I tried to start an agency and it didn't work out. Right? They failed. And it's because they weren't willing to do this, a little bit of learning. They have to learn. You have to learn. Now, Noctilin, I'll answer your question in a minute. So another thing that you can do to be a successful agency We'll delete that real quick so it doesn't confuse anybody. Truthfully, and this is where a lot of small agencies fail, is the promises you make are realistic. So if I was VTuber Senpai, I am. If I sorry, if I was to start an agency tomorrow, I'm going to tell them exactly what I can do. I'm not going to blow out of proportion. I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to show you how to make evergreen content. I'm going to show you what kind of TikToks you should be making. I'm going to give you examples of said TikToks that you should be making. I'm going to set you up on a schedule of when you should be posting those TikToks. Hell, I'll do it for you for the first 2 months, right? And when you see what I'm doing and how I'm editing and how I'm posting, you're going to take over. And you're going to do that. And then as you grow, as the agency makes more money, as we make bigger splits and so on and so forth, I will start hiring staff to do our video editing for us, right? And you build it up as you go. And but right there, that would be a realistic promise. I will do this. I will teach you this. I will teach you this. And then as we move up, as we earn more revenue, we will do this, this, and this to take the workload off you. So you can focus on one thing and one thing only. But yeah, a lot of agencies, small agencies especially, are over promising. And they're always over promising on the revenue split. It's not realistic. You guys can't handle it. You guys are over promising on what you can give the VTubers. Do it. Sorry, I'm going to take some water. It's just you got to be smart about it. What are your thoughts on very successful large content creators starting a small stream group on Twitch? That Noctillon kind of just goes into right here, small agency, right? So you got a very large, very successful content creator. They know what they're doing. They'll start a small stream group, either with people their size or a little bit smaller, or maybe a lot smaller, but they're going to teach a small group on how to be successful and where to get where they need to be, right? It's bringing people up with you. So it's definitely a doable thing. And that's the thing though. Big channels doing that have the knowledge. A lot of people that I see start small agencies are just your average Joes off the street, or an average viewer, or someone that thinks they just have a good idea, but really have never streamed before, or if they have streamed before, they've never gone over 10 concurrent viewers or even 5 concurrent viewers. They're just people that are just fans of VTubers that want to just have their own idol group, to be honest. So yeah, no, there's benefits to it and there's other things. Non-benefits to it. Yeah. The real question we should get to is, should you join an agency? Right? And yeah, that's how Face Connect, started. Should you join an agency? Oh, if you are someone between 0 and 25. Okay, no, actually, let's lower that number. 0 to 15. Not. You should never join an agency if you're 0 to 15 concurrent viewers. The reason for that is you have nothing to offer an agency that's actually beneficial to them. You may have a $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 model. They might have big bobas or whatever. But realistically, big bobas will only get you so far. You have to be entertaining. flat out, you have to be entertaining in some way, shape, or form as a VTuber. So if you're 0 to 15, really, you should just um, focus on yourself and do what you can, build up. A lot of times I see a lot of people in the 0 to 15 concurrent viewer range try to join an agency because they want that quick success. They want the cheat code. They want to leap over others. And that is the wrong reason to join an agency. A good agency will propel you, will give you support, will give you backing. Yes, they will give you viewers and so on and so forth. A lot of VTuber agencies will erase your former VTuber identity and give you a new one. But you need to know how to stream. You need to know how to interact with an audience. You need to know how to interact with haters. You need to know how to ban. You need to know how to do the best settings for your computer. Right? There's so many things you need to learn at the 0 to 15 stage first before you consider even thinking about joining an agency. Now, actually, no, I'm going to raise that number back up to 25. If you are 25 to 50 concurrent viewers, and again, this is strictly my opinion, you could maybe join one. The reason why I say maybe, and I'm leaning towards more of a no, is mostly because when you're at 25 to 50, this is when you're really starting to figure stuff out. You're really starting to get an idea. You're really starting to cultivate your own audience. And when you start throwing into a mix random fellow talents, and they come raid your stream, and every community is different. Not every community's viewers will blend with other viewers. So if they're extremely different than you, it may harm your audience than anything. It might harm more than help. It could help a lot, but it might harm it, right? So when you're rating or being rated, you want to make sure that who you're being rated from in that agency is very similar or relatable to you, or especially has an audience that can work with you. And yeah, absolutely, Andrea. Not all raids are good raids. Yeah, absolutely. Some can be absolutely devastating for you if they're, for example, if it's a political streamer trying to raid a VTuber that's playing Candy Crush. The audience is extremely different work, right? And that larger audience coming in from the other large streamer that's political could absolutely make your viewers want to go away. But when you're at 25 to 50, you're really starting to cultivate your own audience. You're really starting to figure stuff out, like I said before. And I think you should really focus on yourself. And if anything, at this range here at 0 to 25, you should be posting on TikTok, YouTube, you should really be hyper focusing on that as well. Now that I moved into my own place and I'm not living with family anymore and so on and so forth, I can actually sit down and focus and hyper focus on building up my channel and streaming again on a proper regular schedule. But yeah, 25 to 50, focus on yourself. When you're, let's say 50 to 75, let's change that over, 50 to 75. Now, when you're 75 plus, I'm also going to say you could maybe join an agency. You could. At 75 plus, you're usually a partner, usually, or you are very close to becoming a partner on Twitch. Partners on Twitch, when you're at this range, are usually making around the minimum range of 500 a month, right? It's I know people at 75 concurrent viewers. I know people at 50 concurrent viewers making well over 500. They're making several thousand. You really need to think about, should you want to join an agency to have a revenue split, right? Um, some people are okay with that. Some people aren't. Um, but if you are at 75, more than likely you're going to get recruited into a good agency, well-established agency, a large agency. We know there's VTubers in Nijisanji that was there, currently there, that were above the 75 mark and making boatloads of money, boatloads of fans, so on and so forth. But realistically, here you have a very well-established audience. You're having a decent revenue come in. And again, if you hyper focus more, you can just build up. There's no limit. There's no ceiling limit, right? So all in all, in my personal opinion, most people shouldn't join an agency. There are very specific people that should. There's some people that can't handle it. You got to remember, right here, 75, 25, 0 to 25, you're your own boss. You can go live when you want. If you're sick, you don't have to go live. If you don't feel like going live that day, you don't have to. You're in charge of your content. You can play whatever game you want. You could take whatever sponsorship you want. Hell, you could travel whenever you want. When you join an agency, a lot of agencies, especially at the higher tier, at the 75 plus, are going to be a bit restrictive. You're going to have quotas. You're going to have numbers that you have to meet, right? A lot of times it's going to be a minimum of 40 hours a week, which is a normal full-time job. You're gonna, you might have to, if you're sick for 4 days and you have to do that 40 hours a week, you might have to stay up. Actually, you might have to do 12-hour stream, right? You won't have access to a lot of games. I remember looking through so many Nijisanji applications, where people are like, I want to play Nintendo games on stream. Good luck. Getting rights to stream a Nintendo game as an agency, because that's one thing you guys got to think about too, right? Some agencies need to have rights to play that game, have to get permission from that company to play that game, especially if they're from Japan, right? And an agency is not going to be able to get permission from people like Nintendo to Super Smash tournaments, or Paper Mario modded levels or Super Mario modded levels, right? Those are just a few that I've seen on Nijisanji audition forums. It's not doable. So you gotta remember, you're gonna have minimum hours. You have to play the games they want you to. And again, we've seen it with large agencies. You have to be that persona. It just is. That's just how it is. You can't talk about your personal life, or some agencies allow it, but like you can't show your IRL. You can't talk about your former self. And when you graduate from that agency, you can't tell people what your old persona is. Now, fans are super smart. They figure it out anyway. So when you do go to that, new persona or your old persona, you're going to have the viewers there show up. But at the end of the day, like I've discussed so many times on the stream and other streams, not everybody moves over from one platform to another. YouTube, because again, that's another thing too, right? A lot of agencies are focused on YouTube and not Twitch, because YouTube has the better revenue split. YouTube is 75-25, where Twitch is 50-50, unless you're over the partner, right? But even Twitch caps that. If you're over X amount of subs per month, Twitch docks you down to 50-50 after that X amount of subs. Where YouTube doesn't have that, right? YouTube has a nice membership tier where you can make memberships $1 if you wanted to. Twitch doesn't really have that. You can have a lot of different tiers on YouTube. Have that, right? So agencies pick YouTube for a reason. You gotta be okay with streaming on to YouTube, which a lot of people aren't. A lot of people love the Twitch atmosphere, love the Twitch vibe, love the Twitch community, love the Twitch emote system, point system. Da, 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 da. You gotta be willing to give that up a bit. So basically, as an indie VTuber, you can be digital nomad. That is correct. Yeah. Some game companies are not chill with their games being streamed on streamed agency or not. Yeah, exactly. So you guys got to think about that when you're trying to join like a large agency or so on and so forth. There's a lot of upsides and downsides to these things. Think about it. But a lot of these small agencies popping up, you guys really need to be careful. You have to be careful. I've seen a lot of small agencies be very predatory as for personal information that they shouldn't be asking for, like social insurance numbers. Never ever give your SIN number out to anybody that's in a small agency. They got to have a proper LTD if you're American, LLC if you're American, LTD if you're Canadian. So I got that backwards. You guys got to have, they got to have proper tax, got to have proper everything, right? You guys, there's a lot of small VTubers that are just so desperate to get viewers, so desperate to get an audience that they don't think about these things. You have to be very careful. These are complete strangers you're meeting online. When you're joining a big agency like Niji Sanji, HoloLive, Vishojo, which almost all those are almost dead now, or if not, they are dead. Those they have a well-established presence already in different countries. LTD is not hard to get, and you get a lot of perks. Yeah, exactly right, Lewis. So I've seen people give their personal information to complete strangers online over a Twitter chat. Don't be dumb. There's no reason for it. Realistically, a lot of you guys that are thinking about joining a small agency, just do a small group. Just do a small group. Start with a group of friends. See what you guys can learn from each other. Right? Is there downsides to a group? Yeah, absolutely. But if you're really craving to be in an agency, just do a group with your friends. Go from there. Yeah, VTuber agencies are extremely overrated. Back in the day, when YouTube started out, they really weren't paying creators well at all. And we had something called MCNs, right? MCMs, sorry. And they were basically agencies representing these creators. And there was one agency, what were they called? They were very popular. Machinima? I want to say Machinima. But it turned out, I want to say Machinima. Sounds about right, Machinima. Where they weren't paying their talent. They didn't pay their talent. They took copyrighted, or they took people's content copyrighted and sold it to like different companies. I think they sold like Rooster Teeth or something. I can't remember. And they completely screwed people over. And to be honest, if you're going to join a small agency, big agency, you got to be prepared to be screwed over one way or another. You're putting your life, your fate, your revenue into someone else's hands. You know how to guarantee success and keep that success? Put it in your own hands. That's why I've never joined an agency. I've applied just for shits and giggles. God you know, after a couple of interviews, which is pretty good. But at the end of the day, if I joined an agency, VTuber Senpai wouldn't be here. Well, to be fair, VTuber Senpai hasn't been here for 2 years. But now VTuber Senpai could actually make a proper comeback because he has his own place. But, you know, like, at least I can control this. At least, you know, if this channel is not successful, it's because it's what I did or what I didn't do. If it's successful, it's because of what I did. That's how you guys got to look for it. Look about it for yourself, because it's very important. Don't discount yourself, and don't try to skip or rush to the finish line. Not worth it. When you rush to the finish line, you are missing so much. So take your time with it. Okay. My TED Talk. Any questions? I'm gonna play some more lo-fi girl. Go back to main screen. I also drink some water because my throat is absolutely, positively killing me right now. I am not used to this. Okay, there we go. Sounds like Machinima. Yeah, it was definitely Machinima. It definitely sounds like Machinima. It probably is Machinima. And that's the thing. That's the crazy thing about like Machinima, and you know, they had so many good things working for them. They had so many talented creators, so many great creators. And unfortunately, what happens with every agency, MCN, so on and so forth, greed gets in the way. And when greed gets in the way, that's when things fail. So, yeah. Drinking more water. Sorry. But yeah, if you guys got any more questions, it's been a while. Please feel free to ask questions. Now is the time. I'll probably stay online for another 15 minutes or so. I am going to probably start... I'm definitely going to start posting on YouTube more often. The goal is to go back to the once a weeks videos. I want to do the challenge that I spoke about on last stream of one YouTube short a day for 30 days. See how that works out. The nice cool thing about having my own place now is I can actually teach you guys how to do cooking streams. Cooking streams would be fun. And yeah, a lot of fun stuff coming. A lot of fun stuff, which is exciting. But yeah, definitely thinking Twitch on Wednesdays. Twitch on Wednesdays. That'll be the cooking stream, so on and so forth. I started a Satisfactory server. So we're gonna play some Satisfactory, do some cooking. What am I cooking? I have no idea. Lewis, you know me better than anyone. I gotta learn how to cook. So a lot of it is gonna be learning how to cook. I want to learn how to make sushi properly. So maybe learn how to make sushi on stream. There's a tutorial I'm going to be making soon on how to stream in IRL as a VTuber. So that'll be something I'm going to be getting. That'll be something I'll be doing, and then also doing with you guys more often too, right? I want to. My city is a very beautiful city, in some parts. So it'd be cool just to show people what my city looks like and different places. Get that roll going. Road trips, yeah, we could do road trips. There's tons and tons and tons of potential of what we can do. which is great. Tons of potential. Is it a bad idea to upload games on YouTube? We talked about this before, but I want to revisit the topic. No, it's not a bad idea to upload game footage. Edit it a little bit, yeah. But, you know, the thing is, there's content for everyone. We've talked about it before, where I showed you guys on stream. There's a guy trying to be an NPC that had a toilet seat around his neck, poop bun on his head, and just like being weird. There's TikToks that I've been seeing show up on my TikTok on how to be a voice actor, and she's like reading lines, and then you got to read your lines. So, you know, there's literally content for everybody. Upload your content. If it's one of those things, yeah, just do it. I think Nocturnal, what you're kind of talking about is what Markiplier did, right? Where you choose your own adventure. Go for it. Choose your own adventure. That'd be cool. There isn't really many choose your own adventure games on YouTube. Try it. Yeah, there's so many things you guys can try. Do it. Yeah, be yourself and have fun with it. Exactly. Be yourself, have fun with it. And that's the one thing that is a huge downfall for a lot of small VTubers. They're scared of making mistakes. They're scared of looking like fools. They're scared of what people are going to say. Look at every large streamer, every single one. Think what they care what people think of them? You think they care what people say about them? No. They don't let any of that stuff hold them back. They go at it. They have fun with it. They laugh at their mistakes. They call themselves idiots on the stream, and they move on, and people love that kind of thing. You gotta be willing to make mistakes and laugh at yourself. If you take yourself and your stream way too seriously, you're never gonna grow. Yes, be yourself, have fun. Upload your own indie game to other people so they can play it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, go for it, Nocturnal. Yeah, if you can do it, go for it. Absolutely. And again, think of it this way, Nocturnal. And I know you've asked this question, many other relatable questions in the past. Do it. Like, what's holding you back? I know you're scared. I know everybody's scared. Upload, dude. Upload. Do what you... If you gotta ask, hey, would it be a good idea? Or would this be a bad idea? Find out. Upload. Find out if it's a good idea. Find out if it was a bad idea. Right? When I started this YouTube channel, I was at work with Lewis, and I was doing Rainbow Six Siege at the time. And I remember asking Lewis, yeah, should I continue doing VTuber videos? Because like my first VTube video was about Luppet and how to use Luppet, because I was mad on how lengthy the tutorials were for Luppet back in the day. And I remember asking Lewis, hey, should I commit to it? And like he told me, give it a try. Do it for a month. See what happens. If I didn't listen to Lewis and just give it a try, VTuber Senpai wouldn't be here. I don't owe this to Lewis, to be honest. Right? You guys just gotta give it a try. See what happens. Have fun with it. Hell, I wore very inappropriate shirts on this channel at first. I thought it was funny. And it was funny. Again, have fun with it, guys. Who cares? Did people make comments about it? Yeah. Did people roast me over it? Yeah. At the end of the day, did it really matter? No, because people still watch the content. People didn't care about the shirt. They cared about what I was giving them. The SAO hoodie was great. The funny thing about those hoodies, the Hagel, or however you say it, hoodie, The white one with the faces on it. SAO hoodies. I own those all in real life. I actually own those. I pulled them out of my storage closet when I was moving to this new place. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, yep, I got these. And they're hanging on my wall by my computer. Because those were the hoodies that I started with. So just those window fail clips I made of you back in the R6 days. Yeah, there was a lot of those. Definitely Twitch is going to be one of those fun things where we just do stuff, which is exciting. But yeah, chat, I'm going to call it there for today's stream. It was only an hour and 10 minutes. But I think it was a pretty good stream. Pretty decent stream. Like I said, I'm going to work on doing this every week for at least an hour or two. Goal is going to be 2 hours, not an hour. It's going to be 2 hours. But making sure we have interesting topics. If you guys got topic suggestions, make sure you guys leave it in the Discord. DM it to me directly. Yeah, if you haven't already, make sure you guys join the Discord. All that fun stuff. Be active in the Discord. I'm going to be more active in the Discord as well going forward because now I actually have time. So yeah, if you guys ever need anything from me, please reach out. And yeah, I'll catch you all in the next one. Okay, bye everybody.